welcome little listeners to tonight's bedtime story on our magical podcast, where dreams take flight and adventures are as big as your imagination. Today, we have a delightful tale about two best friends who live in a bustling, beautiful forest. Our story is called The Tale of Two Squirrels. Join us as we follow the adventures of Nibble and Scribble, two playful squirrels who learn the true meaning of friendship and forgiveness. So snuggle up and get ready to embark on a fun and heartwarming journey. In the middle of a big, beautiful forest, there lived two squirrels named Nibble and Scribble. They were the best of friends and loved to play together every day. Their friendship was as bright as the flowers and as joyful as the birds singing in the trees. One sunny morning, Nibble woke up excited. He scampered over to Scribble's tree and shouted up, "Hey, Scribble, let's have a race. Let's see who can collect the most acorns." Scribble peeked out from his nest, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "You're on. I'm going to win." The two squirrels darted off in different directions, leaping from branch to branch and scurrying down the tree trunks. Nibble found a big oak tree with lots of acorns scattered on the ground. He picked up as many as he could carry and stuffed them into his cheeks. Scribble, meanwhile, found a hidden grove with juicy acorns hanging low on the branches. After a fun-filled day of racing and collecting, they met back at their favourite meeting spot. They dumped their acorns into two big piles and started counting. 21, 22, looks like it's a draw. Scribble panted, grinning widely. "Ha ha ha, that means we both win." Nibble laughed, tossing an acorn to Scribble. "And now we have plenty to share." They both giggled and high-fived with their tails. One day, Nibble and Scribble decided to visit the meadow where the tall grass whispered secrets and the deer roamed freely. Scribble turned to Nibble with a mischievous grin. "Bet you can't scare the big deer," he dared. Nibble nodded, accepting the challenge with a sneaky smile. They both crept through the tall grass, their little hearts pounding with excitement. Nibble leapt out with a tiny roar, startling the deer. The deer looked around confused, then continued grazing as Nibble and Scribble giggled from their hiding spot. "We're the rulers of mischief," Scribble declared as they high-fived with their tails. "That was so much fun," Nibble agreed. "Let's do it again sometime." One stormy afternoon, Nibble and Scribble were scampering through the forest when they heard a soft chirping sound. They followed the sound and found a young bluebird shivering under a leaf. "Oh no, the poor bird," Nibble said, worried. "We need to help it," Scribble suggested, his eyes softening. "But how?" Nibble asked. They looked around and spotted a broken branch nearby. "Let's build a ramp to help the bird get back to its nest," Scribble said. They worked together, gathering twigs and leaves, and built a little ramp. They gently nudged the bluebird onto the ramp and watched as it climbed back into its nest. "We did it!" Nibble cheered. "Another good deed done," Scribble said proudly, puffing out his chest. In the evenings, after a long day of playing and exploring, Nibble and Scribble liked to sit under their favourite pine tree. They would crack open acorns and talk about their day. "Do you think there are more forests like ours?" Scribble asked one evening, staring into the horizon. Nibble thought for a moment and said, "Maybe, but this one is the best because it's our home." Scribble smiled. "I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." They sat in comfortable silence, enjoying the peace of their forest home and the warmth of their friendship. One day, they went to check on their big pile of nuts they had collected together. When they got there, they found the pile was gone. "Where did our nuts go?" Nibble asked, panic in his voice. "Did you take them?" Scribble asked, his eyes narrowing. "No, did you?" Nibble snapped back. "No, did you?" Nibble snapped back. "Why would I do that?" Scribble shouted. They argued and argued until they both walked away, angry and sad. Days passed, and Nibble and Scribble tried to manage on their own. Nibble missed Scribble's clever ideas and his sense of humour. Scribble missed Nibble's cheerful company and how they always helped each other. The forest didn't feel the same without their friend. Everything seemed harder and lonelier. One day, Nibble was wandering through the forest when he met Mr. Hoot, the wise old owl. Mr. Hoot noticed Nibble's sadness. "What's wrong, little one?" Mr. Hoot asked kindly. Nibble told Mr. Hoot about the missing nuts and the argument with Scribble. Mr. Hoot nodded wisely. Holding on to anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. "You are the one who gets burned," he said gently. "Forgiveness will make your heart feel lighter," said Mr. Hoot. Meanwhile, Scribble met Fleet the fox. Fleet saw Scribble struggling alone and said, "Friends are better together. Why don't you make up with Nibble?" Nibble and Scribble both thought about the wise words they had heard. Each wanted to make amends, but didn't know how to begin. One day, by chance, they both found themselves at their favourite oak tree. Scribble spotted Nibble first and hesitated. "Oh, hi, Nibble," Scribble said softly. Nibble looked up, surprised but relieved. "Hi, Scribble," he replied. They stood in awkward silence for a moment, shuffling their paws. Scribble broke the silence. "How have you been?" he asked. "Doing okay, I guess," Nibble said, his voice a bit shaky. "How about you?" "Same here," Scribble answered, nodding. "It's been different without you." Nibble looked at Scribble, eyes softening. "Yeah, I felt the same. I missed you." "I missed you too," Scribble replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry I got so angry," Scribble continued, looking at the ground. "I'm sorry too," Nibble said, his voice sincere. They looked at each other and, without another word, hugged tightly. At that moment, they promised never to let anything come between them again. Together, they decided to look for their missing nuts one last time. They searched around the base of the tree and found a small hole. Inside, they discovered their nuts and a family of mice who had found the stash and were using it to survive. "Oh, the poor mice were just hungry," Nibble said. "Let's share our nuts with them," Scribble suggested. Nibble agreed, saying, "True friends share and forgive." When winter came, Nibble and Scribble faced it together, their friendship warm and strong. They knew they could handle anything as long as they had each other. And so they lived happily in their beautiful forest, filled with laughter and love. And that's the end of our story, The Tale of Two Squirrels. We hope you enjoyed the adventures of Nibble and Scribble and learned a valuable lesson about the power of friendship and forgiveness. Remember, just like Nibble and Scribble, true friends always find a way to share, forgive, and stick together through thick and thin. Thank you for joining us on this magical podcast. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends and family. Stay tuned for more magical tales. Until next time, keep smiling and be kind to one another.